All right, today's video is Chapter 7, Lesson 1. We're also going to do Lesson 2. 7.1, we're going to go back and forth between percents and fractions, changing a percent into a fraction, changing a fraction back into a percent. Let's start with a fraction. If you got 6 out of 8 questions right on a test, what percent would that be? Well, first I need to draw my house. 8 goes into 6 0 times. And I did the long division and I ended up with 0.75. Is that what I want? Well, no, I want a percent, but this is where I have to make a pit stop. I have to go from fraction to decimal, decimal to percent. So now the procedure is that you hop 2 times to the right, 75%. If this fraction, when we divided it, had been going on forever and ever and ever, then you would want to go maybe 3 or 4 times and then round. But you want to hop before you do any kind of rounding. So let's try another example. Let's suppose that you got 19 out of 20 on a test. First step is to divide. 20 went into 199 times, but it wasn't even, so I have to add another 0. 20 will go into 105 times. Now that I have a decimal, I can hop twice and make it 95%. Okay, let's talk about another strategy though. 19 out of 20, that denominator is really nice and easy to make into 100. By multiplying by 5, 19 times 5 would be 95. Anytime you have something out of 100, the top number is the percent. 95 out of 100 is 95%. So if there are some homework questions where the denominator makes 100, so those would include, if the denominator was a 5, you can make 100. If the denominator is a 10, you can make 100. 20 makes 100. I should have thought of 4. 4 makes 100. So anything that where if you can get the bottom number to make 100, then all you have to do is do the multiplying pattern and look at the top, the numerator above the 100, and that's your final answer. What if we start with an improper fraction like 12 over 9? Let's say you got some bonus on a test. Well, I'm still going to divide. This time 9 goes into 12 once. And now I add my decimal and my 0. 9 went into 30 3 times, which was 27. Add another 0. It's going to be 3 again. Sorry, 27. And it's going to be a 3 again. If I put a whole bunch of 3s, then I hop, I would get 133%, 133.3%, or 133.3 repeating percent. Math people, that would probably be their favorite one because it's the most accurate. Rounding is okay, rounding to the tenths. Rounding to the whole number, not quite so much. So this one would be the best one if you get a repeating guy. Let's look at this. If your numerator is smaller than your denominator, then your percent is under 100. But if it's an improper fraction, your percent will be over 100. And I think that makes sense when you think about your grade. 19 out of 20, you haven't reached 100%. But 12 out of 9, you got some bonus. It'll be over 100%. Here's your first question of the video. What percent is this? When you type in your answer, make sure to type in a percent sign. Did you get 250%? Well, I put the 20 in the house. 8 went into 20 twice. That's 16. Subtract and get 4. I had to add a decimal and a 0, but it went into 40 nicely. 2.5, when you hop twice, needs a 0 placeholder for 250%. Now let's talk about taking percents and making them fractions. Okay, so the procedure is take your number, like 11, and put it over 100. Take your number like 65 and put it over 100. Take your number like 3, and guess what? Put it over 100. Take your number like 125. Put it over 100. Take your number like 6.5. Put it over 100. Actually, I would like to do something different with that one, but just wanted to keep my pattern going. Put it over 100. Now we have to ask ourselves, can we simplify? Can we simplify this? Nope, it's 11 over 100. Can I simplify this one? Sure, I can divide both of them by 5, and I get 15 over 20. Did I do the math right? No, it's 13. 13 over 20. This guy, he's done. Can't be simplified. This guy, okay, we can simplify him or divide him, and then we can divide, simplify, simplify, divide. So I think I'm going to divide first. 100 goes into 125 once, with 25 left over. So 1 and 25 hundredths. You might be thinking to yourself, why didn't she put a decimal? Because the whole point of this is we want fractions. We don't want decimals. And now I'm going to simplify. 25 over 100 is 1/4, because I can divide both of them by 25. So I get a mixed number. Anytime it's over 100%, it's going to be a mixed number. Okay, and then this weird guy. We had 6.5%. Now, I can make it 6.5 over 100, but that just looks really weird. So I'm going to change this guy to 6.5%, right? 1/2 is the same as 0.5. Now, 6.5 over 100, well, still doesn't look super duper fabulous. I mean, we could. What we're going to have to do is hop the dot over one place, because I don't want 6.5. And if I do that, I hop the dot over one place here. And now I'm ready to simplify. And didn't we do this one earlier, kind of, sort of? So if I divide by 5, I get 13, but this time I get 200 instead of, what was it, 13 over 20. Now it's 13 over 200. You could also think of this as I went from 6.5% to 6.5%. I'm going to go from 6.5% to 0.065 as a decimal, because remember, you hop backwards when you're making something going from percent to decimal. So now I have this. That becomes 65 over tenths, hundredths, thousandths. That's the thousandths place, which is exactly what I got here. And then it gave me that final answer. So, holy cow, we got 3 ways to look at it. 6.5 over 100, but then I got to deal with that. 6.5 over 100, hop it once, or 6.5%, go backwards and make it a decimal. Now, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, the same number of digits is the same number of zeros. We just got lots of ways to think about this guy. Your second question in the video is change 24% into a fraction and make sure you simplify. Final answer is 6/25. So first we put 24 over 100. You can either simplify by 2 and 2 again, or simplify by 4 right away. 6/25 is as far as we can go. All right, let's talk about lesson 7.2. They want us to take percents and make them decimals. So all we do is hop backwards twice. 0.35, hop backwards twice. 0.26, hop backwards twice. 0.05, hop backwards twice. 0.032. It's just hopping backwards twice. Now, why are we hopping backwards twice? Because 35% is the same as 35 over 100. 35 hundredths can be written like that, 35 hundredths. 26 hundredths can be written as 26 hundredths. Also, you can think of, there's 2 zeros in 100, so we're hopping backwards 2 times. That's why we need this 0 placeholder. 5 hundredths is 5 with a 0 there, because if it was the 5 was here, it would be 5 tenths, and we don't want 5 tenths, we want 5 hundredths. Now let's do the backwards of that. Let's take these decimals and make them percents. So this time I'm going to hop to the right 2 times. 2 times would make 70, and I need a label of percent. 2 hops, 62%. 2 hops, I need a 0 placeholder so that I get 140%. 2 hops, it stays a decimal. We still have a percent, so this is less than 1%. Greater than 100, less than even a 1, 62 and 70. So both of these we had to add 0 placeholders. So let's recap. Over here, we hopped, okay, never mind. Over here, we hopped to the left. Over here, we hopped to the right. Here, we started with the percent and we were making a decimal. We started with a decimal, we were making a percent. I have kind of a cute way of remembering which direction you hop. If you want to make something a decimal, the letter D looks like that. And if you want to make something a percent, the letter P looks like that. They both have a stick. They both have a hoopy part. I don't really know how else to say that, but it's the hoopy part. It's the hoopy part. So that's what I'm going to call it. So if you are trying to make something a decimal, do you see how the hoopy part is on the left side of the stick? We make a stick and then a hoop. The hoop is on the left, so when you make a decimal, you hop left. When we want to make it a percent, here's the stick, here's the hoop. The hoop is on the right part of the stick. So this will help you remember on a test which direction to hop, and it depends on what you're trying to make it, not what it is already. We're trying to make a decimal. To make a decimal, hop left. To make a percent, hop to the right. Your final question of the video, make this percent into a decimal. Make it a decimal. What decimal is it? All right, did you hop to the left because the hoopy part is on the left? 0.0025. There was the right answer.